control over that.
Right,
so,
okay.
you know, we get what we get.
Yeah, sure. Do they pull pupil premium, or do you get all of that back?
They pull pupil premium
Do they as well?
I'm not sure they should be.
I thought that was a restricted fund.
So did I. I thought it was ring-fenced as well.
Yeah.
But, you know, at the end of the day, they're in an okay position financially, and I don't feel like we're losing out. And also, like I say, we get control of the budget just the same as we did before.
Yeah.
And the only difference is the tiers. So I was accounting officer at St George's because we were kind of standalone, kind of sponsored.
Because an umbrella
structurally,
trust. Yes,
but the accounting officer for the trust is like the chief operating officer. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So things like that get taken away. But that's a good thing,
yes,
you know. So, like data protection, we've got a data protection officer for the trust, and we don't have to do it at academy level. We just have leads who implement the policies and make sure that. So that really works.
How many academies have they got altogether? 50. Yeah, and 8 in this area.
Yeah. So it's a big organisation, and they've been kind of, they're still refining things, but if it's a question about kind of autonomy, and if I feel that I can still do my job well, a really good example actually, property and estates. So, you know, if you wanted somebody to come in and do some building work in your school, we don't have to have any pre-contract meetings, any of that. We don't kind of get involved in any of that stuff because they do it. Yeah. So they meet with the contractors. I say, I need a wall building, I need this doing. They go out, they get the quotes, they do pre-contract meetings, they run the whole thing. We don't do any of that. I don't feel like I'm losing autonomy from that.
No.
I feel like someone's doing the stuff that I don't need to.
Yeah.
So I can concentrate on what I should be doing. So,
and I think that's the problem with small standalone academies. It's not like you're a big, huge secondary school with loads of staff. You end up as a head doing those jobs.
Because somebody has got to do them within the organisation. Yeah. But if you've got an organisation that's 50 schools, you can employ an infrastructure to pick up that stuff and take the pressure off the schools because they don't have to do those things.
So with that pooling of the gag, so presumably you're potentially a gainer from that, but there might be schools who are losers by pooling gag.
Well, I mean, like I say, they've applied their own fair funding formula to try and counteract that, because we've got 8 in the Midlands, 7 are typical urban inner city Birmingham schools, but one of them's in Worcester, you see.
Right, yeah.
A little bit deprived, but it's Worcester, so, you know, historically they've not been well funded through the city council or whatever because they haven't got as much money, but now they're getting a fairer deal, so I think that's good. I think that's fine, you know. So
good. From a point of view of challenge that you get, and perhaps thinking about how it used to be with the diocese, how does the challenge compare?
So we get, I would say that there's more challenge, but so hard to say, isn't it? Basically, we've got a tier that we didn't have at the diocese. So, the regional director is my boss, basically. Yeah. So there's the CEO. Then each region across the country's got a regional director. So he sits above me. Yeah. Which, you know, that's fine, isn't it? It's one of them things.
Yeah.
But and then he comes in half-termly, so we come in for a half-termly visit, agree targets and all that sort of stuff, talk about what we're working on, which I would say was probably a little bit more rigorous than what I was having at the diocese.
And what about quality control, lesson observations, that kind of thing? Does he do that? Or
no, we do that.
You do that? So,
we do that.
So he hasn't got an oversight over the quality of education?
No, I mean, they're very keen to say that role is a governance role, really. Right, so he's effectively my chair of governors, really. Yeah. But of course, because he's a former head teacher, I can talk to him about all that stuff as well. Yeah. So it's a bit of a cross between your chair of governors and your school improvement advisor. Do you know what I mean? And obviously,
does he set your performance management targets? Yeah. Have you got governors here?
Strange setup.
Right.
So they have kind of central governance, which comes, like I say, straight from the board to the CEO to the regional director, and then he governs us. Yeah. But we also have something called an academy council, which are local people from the community, no decision-making power at all.
Okay.
But I present to them in the same way I present to a governing body.
Right.
Which
that waste of your time?
A little bit jumping through hoops.
Yeah.
But we organise all the community stuff through them as well, you see. So what they say is that's the best blend between local and national governance. They've got to have national governance because they're a national body, but they've got to have local governance because they want to ensure the character of each academy was serving the community properly. And I get that. I do get that. Yeah. So, like, but then I do present data and things to Academy Council and think, well, really, that's not your remit.
No.
But they're expected to have responsibilities for safeguarding and things like that, like a governing body. But, like I say, they've got no decision-making power at all. So
presumably there's a scheme of delegation in place that delegates certain things to them, or...
They're not really delegated anything.
No.
They just have the... they have responsibilities, so they've got oversight of what's going on in the academy. And yes, I suppose they can offer challenge and all that sort of stuff. But really, it's all from the regional director, CEO, and that's the main model of governance.
Does the CEO visit?
Sometimes it's got 50 academies.
Sure.
I mean, it's
like a royal visit then.
We have three national conferences a year, which is all of the principals and all the national team.
Okay.
And then we have 3 regional conferences a year as well, which we host that because we're the biggest school.
Okay.
And the CEO comes to all of those, so I'll see him maybe once every couple of months.
Okay, yeah.
So,
and CPD, do Oasis provide CPD for the staff?
Some, and some not. You see that they are quite... they're not a dictatorial people to work for at all.
No.
It's very much you can or you can't, you can or you can't, and I like that. And you see, one thing that you could consider really, they started to this year. They've set up MPQSL, MPQML, and they run it for all staff, all the academies. So they've got 150 people. The numbers are staggering, aren't they? They've got 150 people on those middle and senior leadership courses.
So they're training their own
by Oasis staff, and that is really powerful.
So they've got their next group of head teachers that they're developing now, really, aren't they?
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna go on the MPQ-EL, which is like for executive leaders. So, there's something for everybody, really. But they are obviously like growing their own because they run the training. They've got the accreditation, but they run the training. So it's like, I think that's really impressive. So simple, but it's impressive because it's recruitment and retention and everyone's getting the same message and all that. So, why wouldn't you sign up to that?
No.
So
with Oasis, is there a possibility that your staff could be asked to go and work somewhere at another Oasis school?
Not at the moment, which I think... It's a tricky one, isn't it? You see, my mate works for Arthur Terry, and they very much do that.
Yes,
I don't know if you've spoken to anyone.
No, I haven't.
But they operate like that a lot. They pull staff in backwards and forwards, and if people aren't good enough, they won't hesitate to just yank them out and put somebody else in from somewhere. And they're quite aggressive with that, almost aggressive with that sort of thing. But they're very decisive. Oasis don't do that at all, and to the point where I think they could probably do it a bit more. You know what I mean? And even in the short time I've been here, I'm trying to push that a little bit in the sense of like, if I've got like a really good middle leader who's like, an aspiring middle leader, 3rd year, 4th year teaching, ready for a TLR, I've got no space for that person. I'd much rather they went to another Oasis academy
keep
than
them
just
internal.
Went to Sandwell or just disappeared into the ether. It just makes good sense, doesn't it? So I'm trying to push for that a little bit because I just think that's a really easy win.
If you've got an area of weakness in your school, say you wanted to improve reading, would they bring somebody in to support you with that?
Not necessarily. It's more like linking up the coordinators. So we don't, which I think is a good idea. We don't have like a team of consultants because
some of the chains do.
Well, they cost a fortune. They're independent, so you quality control. We just use our own people, and I think that's really good. So, like, if they know reading, as an example, if our reading's terrible and they've got a really good literacy lead in another school, they'll just link up the leads and just say, look, this is what you need to do or whatever. Sure. But we're in a good position, Christopher, as well. That's the other thing, because out of the academies, we've got 8 academies, 7 of them are good. So we're in quite a strong place. We've got one that's alright, but actually even that's on the way up. So I think it's easy to do that then. If we took on a category school, that would be different, wouldn't it? And
yeah.
you might have to be a bit
Dynamic
more
changes.
intense,
Yeah.
But most of them academies are comfortably good. And, if Ofsted were to rock up to any